Okay, guys and gals, fans and friends of Bob's Barn Workshop, I'm out here today to start sorting out the wiring that is all botched up on this little car. Now, I believe what happened, I'm going to pick the light out of here, it's not blinding so much, or maybe move it back. What happened is if you look at the wiring diagram supplied in all the books and online, they show the headlights and all, here we go, you know, facing towards me. That's the front of the car. Those are the headlights. Those are the tail lights. And right there in the middle is the fuse box. But if you look at this, if you turn this around, I think people look at it this way, with the fuse box sitting this way, and that's how all the wires got on the wrong spots. Because if you look at the fuse box up here, you can see the buses between the fuses, the common buses. And there's 1, 2, 3 doubles. And if you look at the drawing, it's 1, 2, 3 doubles from that side. So the drawing has to be this way for the terminals on the fuse box to be correct. I know it's really hard to see anything there with a jumble of wires. I'm not going to make a video out of this because there's plenty of guys out there. There's a guy with an accent. I forget what he's called. Sorry, I can't give him credit. But he's been doing the wires coming off from the flasher switch, the wires coming off from the headlight switch, the wires coming off from the ignition switch, and where they go on the box and everything. All these relays laying out here are supposed to be mounted on this rail. So, yeah. I got a lot of sorting out to do. I can kind of assume that all the rest of the wires go to the right places, like to the lights and stuff. Everything looks like it's plugged together correctly down in here to like the headlights and stuff. And why would they be different, moved around on the, like the warning lights and stuff on the Speedo, which is the main instrument? I'll check them out. And I've actually brought myself out a 3 amp 12 power supply with limited current. So I could hook that up to wires and just light light bulbs up without burning up any wires like I did. So I'm going to start patching this together, and if I get success with different systems running, I'll show you that. But you're not going to have to sit through all that. The ultimate goal of this whole rewiring fixing is to get the engine running so we can get this inspected. So we will be doing, I'll make a brief synopsis of this video if I get her running. Well, it was a long fought battle and a lot of tracing out wires from here to the fuse block. But she's all done. I got all new connectors on places that I was worried about being insulated. There was one difference that we had connected, and it was they hooked up the backup light switch differently. But that's okay. We just put a Y here for it. It's supposed to actually feed off in the coil in the back. But for right now, I've got it hooked up here with this triple connector because one of it goes to the coil and one of it goes to the backup light switch. And I had to put a Y in there so that I could use the one terminal available here. So, yeah, tomorrow we're going to do a start on this. I'm going to go check through a couple of things, but I broke a couple of these little pilot light units that shove into the back of the, they're just worn out. These little things are light bulb holders, and they're supposed to be spring loaded, and the spring is shut. So I've got to order some of these for the indicator lights is all. I got the oil pressure and the fuel and the generator already hooked up correctly. So tomorrow we do the deed. All right, guys and gals, we are under the hood of the Beetle once again. It may not look it, But all the wiring is in the right place. There's a lot of stuff here that gets bundled up, and I don't know how to do it correctly. So I've checked every wire, no loose connections. I left the 4-way flasher switch out because I went to pull. It fits so tight back in there that see, they use a lot of uninsulated terminals, like that one on the ground there. And they were really close to that bracket for the cold air, fresh air vents, right when they're stuck behind it. So I put heat shrink boots on all of them. Well, when I went to pull one of the wires off, the whole top of the switch pulled out. Great. So what I've done is I went all the way around the perimeter with super glue. So I'm going to leave that sitting there for a little while. And but what we're going to do is we are going to start an electrical test. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a current limited power supply in the back seat and hook it up to the battery first. And it only has 3 amps, so it's not going to run all the lights. But what it will do is when I hook it up to the terminals, it will tell me if I have any shorts. It'll draw current. So let me get that hooked up and we'll show you. Okay, so we got the power supply in the front seat here. The ground is still connected to the chassis ground under the hood, but that's the same. The ground strap back here in the back just connects to the chassis. I got the hot wire with a lead to it. So obviously this does not have anywhere near enough power to run the starter or anything, but we're just checking for shorts. Okay, I got dash lights. If I turn that off, I got relays and doing something weird. Alright, well it's drawing current enough to be drawn only like 6 volts right now at 3 amps. But that's got some dash lights on. Got my generator light is on. I don't know why my turn signal switch is on. It's trying to... Okay. Trying to run the wipers. I don't know what these 3 switches are. I got to figure out what all these things do. Will the horn blow? Alright. That's a little disturbing. But that relay is clicking. Are my headlights on? Oh. Okay, there we go. That's better. That's better. For some reason the starter or the turn signal relay seems to be firing. I don't know if that... I'm getting about... That's weird. Set the voltage at about 14 volts. That's why we do these tests, so we don't burn the car up. I have no idea why that should be running like that. Alright, well, it's time to turn the air conditioning on and close the door because I'm roasting. Okay, well that mystery is solved, guys. What we had was a failure to communicate. No, what we had was I had the emergency flasher switch on. I went underneath the dash where I got it laying up there in the trunk and turned it off. And now we've got 13, 14 volts on the system. And it draws absolutely no current sitting here. Now, don't know if the horn will blow. Don't know if it needs to be on. Let's turn the ignition on. No such thing there. So there's a relay firing. I did check the lights. We pull out the light switch, one click. Well, I got headlights too. So I got tail lights. And I don't see anything for high beams or low beams here, but they were working. Maybe not through the switch. My headlight switch is a little loose. I don't know, see, I'm just trying to work things out here. Don't get any beep from the horn. It doesn't even try. So I don't know what's up with that. But the good news is we got nothing that's going to cause a fire. I guess I can hook the battery up. What do you think, guys? Am I brave enough? Ignition is off. Could have a bad voltage regulator. No, it doesn't. It feeds straight through the voltage regulator. Let's see. Oh no, it doesn't. Battery comes in here. Oh yes, it does feed straight through. Okay. Sorry, it's kind of dark back here, but the camera does a pretty good job, I think. There's the input from the alternator. But I'm not seeing any real bad rot back here either. That's always a good thing when your car's not rotten when you just bought it. Alright guys and gals, I got the battery installed. Hooked up to the terminals. Let's see if the lights work. They not work at all when there's no... I don't see headlights. I hit the battery or the thing cover. I got tail lights. I got running lights. I don't have nothing for headlights, and I don't know exactly how that all works or why we don't have them. Turn the relay on. Still no horn. I don't see any headlights. For some reason, is the relay bad? I know they work because I hooked the power supply up to them if they get power. So, what else can I try? Well, this is going to take some investigation. My turn signal relay is going. Oh, there's. Oh, duh! I'm looking at the wrong one. There's my right-hand turn. That works. Oh, something else doesn't work. Left. Well, that actually should be right, and it's going backwards. And that one doesn't work. Now there is a harness that comes up into the bottom of this that could be screwed up. I'm gonna just be brave and bump the starter. Well, the starter runs. Didn't sound too bad. Do I see any fuel in the fuel filter? There's a little. Am I getting ignition? Oh. Well, there's a lot to be investigated. She's not ready to run down the road quite yet. I'm gonna go make sure I disconnect the battery when I'm not in here. I gotta figure out why the headlights aren't working, why a lot of stuff isn't working. All right, guys, that's it for now.